Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for today's Ishopanishad session. Let us begin with prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let us continue to read from Sri Ishopanishad by His Divine Grace Vishwaguru Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We will read the mantra one once again with the translation, and then we shall begin with the purport from the point where we left in the last session. Sri Ishopanishad Mantra 1. Ishavashyamidam sarvam yatkinchajjagatyam jagat Tena tyaktena bhunjitha magradhakasya siddhanam. Translation and purport by Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. Translation: everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So, this shloka, we had discussed this verse. The first line of the verse we had discussed in our last session. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. This we had discussed in our last session. So, Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Actually, jagatyam jagat. Jagatyam means within the universe. Jagat means both inanimate and animate entities. Yat kincha means whatever is existing. So basically, the first two lines of the shloka of this mantra of Ishopanishad, it is telling that nothing belongs to any one of us. Whatever we see in this universe, both moving and non-moving entities, animate and inanimate entities, all of these are actually the property of the Supreme Lord, who is known as Isha. Isha means the supreme controller. So this Ishopanishad is part of the Yajurveda, as we had discussed in our previous session. So this Ishopanishad, in the very first mantra, it is declaring that the supreme absolute truth is a person. It is not simply some energy, as many people think. Isha means he must be a person. He has this attribute called the proprietor and the controller. Isha means controller. Ishvara, one who controls. So he has this attribute called controller. Therefore, he must be a personality, right? And the subsequent mantras in this Ishopanishad further explain how the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. It goes on describing the attributes, the activities of Ishvara. This Ishopanishad also describes the relationship between us and Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, that we will see in the consequent verses. Now let us continue to read the purport from where we left in our last session. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord's proprietorship over everything within the universe is confirmed in the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verses 4 and 5, where Para and Apara Prakriti are discussed. The elements of nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego, all belong to the Lord's inferior material energy or Apara Prakriti. Whereas the living being, the organic energy, is his superior energy or Para Prakriti. Both of these Prakritis or energies are emanations from the Lord, and ultimately, he is the controller of everything that exists. There is nothing in the universe that does not belong either to the Para or the Apara Prakriti. Therefore, everything is the property of the Supreme Being. So, Srila Prabhupada is referring to the verses in the seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 4 and 5, where Krishna is saying, Bhumirapo nalo vayo khammano buddhirevacha ahankaramiti yamme bhinna prakritirashtada apareyam itastvanyam, etc. So Lord Krishna says, Bhumirapaha analaha vayuhu kham manaha buddhihi, all these things, ahankara. These are my eight separated energies, material energies, Krishna says. And these are described as apara prakriti of Krishna. Prakriti means nature or energies. Whenever we say prakriti or nature, we always refer to whose nature. Suppose if you say, his nature is like that, he's always very angry. That is his nature, we say. Right? That means his nature, it is his attributes, his qualities. So whenever we say Prakriti, there must be the possessor of that Prakriti. Whenever we say nature, there must be controller behind the nature. Nature can never operate independent of an intelligent controller. This is very important point that Bhagavad Gita brings out. So even the most sophisticated computer needs an intelligent person to design it and to operate it. So, this material nature that we are seeing around us, no doubt it is wonderful. It is producing wonderful things, phenomena, so many living entities. But all this is not happening by chance. There is the intelligence of the Supreme Lord behind this nature. This also Krishna personally says in the ninth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 10. Krishna says, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetuna nena kaunteya jagadviparivartate. Krishna says, under my superintendence, this material nature is working and it is producing varieties of phenomena. That means the Supreme Lord is the ultimate controller of everything that exists in this nature, in this material nature. So he is the supreme proprietor of everything that exists. And specifically, Krishna gives a list of eight material elements, which are his energies. Eight material energies. What are those? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the five Panchabhutas, and these are gross material elements. And then there are three subtle material elements: Manaha, Buddhi, Ahankara. Mind, intelligence, and false ego. So these totally eight in number, these eight material energies are bringing about this entire cosmic manifestation. So Krishna says, these are my separated energies. Why they are called separated energies? They are because they are not conscious. These eight elements are also described as dull matter. These are called apara prakriti, material energy. They are also called inferior energy because they do not have consciousness. Now, apart from this, Krishna says, Apareyam itastvanyam jiva bhutam. So, Krishna says, apart from these eight elements, there is one more kind of energy of mine, which is which is superior. It is superior. Why? Because it is conscious. And what does that superior energy of the Lord comprise of? It comprises of all the jivas, the living entities, all of us. So we are also energies of Krishna. We are also parts and parcels of Krishna. We also belong to Krishna. We are called para prakriti or superior energy because we have got consciousness. We can think, feel, and will. And it is the jivas who are exploiting the material energy and producing various kinds of uh, gadgets or various kinds of inventions and all of these. So, therefore, both of us are Prakriti. That means we, the living entities, and the material energy, both are called Prakriti and both are controlled by the Supreme Lord. And if you see in this material world, everything that you can see is a combination of matter and spirit. There is nothing apart from matter and spirit in the entire universe. So, matter means the eight elements which I was talking about, and spirit is the jiva, the living entities. So, the combination of matter and spirit is what sustains this entire universe. And Krishna says, these are all my energies, and I am the possessor of these energies. Now, a very beautiful thing that we have to understand from this shloka of Bhagavad Gita is that we have a care of address, right? We are not independent. We, the jivas, that we are care of Krishna. That means we belong to Krishna. That is our address. That is our permanent address. And further in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 7 also, Krishna says this. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashrashtani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Krishna says, Mama eva amshaha. All living entities are my amshas only. They're all my parts and parcels. So we eternally belong to the Supreme Lord. So this is a very important information that we are getting to know through the verses of Bhagavad Gita and also from this first verse of Ishopanishad. Everything that is existing in this world is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord, which includes us also. We are also owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord. Those who recognize this are called as devotees. Those who do not recognize this, they are called non devotees. So, becoming a devotee means to recognize that I belong to Krishna. I don't have an independent existence apart from Krishna. Right? So, this consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. Right? So, let's try to read more and understand further. Because the Supreme Being, the absolute personality of Godhead, is the complete person, he has complete and perfect intelligence to adjust everything by means of his different potencies. The Supreme Being is often compared to a fire, and everything organic and inorganic is compared to the heat and light of the fire. Just as fire distributes energy in the form of heat and light, the Lord displays his energy in different ways. He thus remains the ultimate controller, sustainer, and dictator of everything. He is the possessor of all potencies, the knower of everything, and the benefactor of everyone. He is full of inconceivable opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. A very beautiful example has been given here, which says that just like there is fire, if there is a fire in one corner of your room, that fire continuously emanates two kinds of energies, heat and light. Whenever there is fire, you can see around the fire, heat and light are spreading out. The source is the fire, and heat and light are its effects or energies, we can say. In the same way, the Supreme Lord is one, the ultimate source, but from him there are so many effects coming out, so many energies which are being distributed everywhere. So this is explained in the Vedas, in the Upanishads. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. So the Supreme Lord has got multi energies. He has got nothing to do himself personally. He has to simply will, and all the energies of him, they conduct, they carry out his will. This is the position of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord does not have to do anything personally. He simply has to will, and all his energies carry out his order, his will. Just like if there is the head of a government, say a president or a prime minister, simply if he signs a document that becomes law, and under him there are various ministers and administrators who carry out the responsibility of enforcing that law which has been signed by the president or the prime minister. So if an ordinary person in this world can display such a power that he does not have to personally do anything, he simply has to sign, and there are various ministers and officers who implement his desire, then what to speak about the Supreme Lord? The Supreme Lord is immensely powerful. So he has his energies, his agents called the Devatas, and the different energies which carry out his will. So one of his energies is described as Durga, Durga Devi. She is the material energy of the Supreme Lord. She is also known as Maya. And she is actually like the shadow of the Supreme Lord. Whatever the Supreme Lord wills, she simply carries out. Right? There is a beautiful verse in the Brahma Samhita which talks about this. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga Ichhanurupam api yasya cha cheshtate sa Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Lord Brahma is saying, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the original personality, whose energy is Durga Devi, and this Durga Devi conducts Srishti, Sthiti, and Laya, that is, creation, maintenance, and destruction within this universe according to the will, Ichhanurupam, according to the will of Govinda. Just like if I move the hand, the shadow of my hand also moves automatically. So Durga Devi, she is the material energy, Mahamaya, of the Supreme Lord, and based on the desire of the Supreme Lord Govinda or Krishna, Durga Devi conducts the affairs of this material world. So he does not have to do anything personally. By his energies, he can he can bring about various changes or various actions within this material world. So let's continue to read. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that except for the Lord, no one is a proprietor of anything. One should accept only those things that are set aside by the Lord as his quota. The cow, for instance, gives milk, but she does not drink that milk. She eats grass and straw, and her milk is designated as food for human beings. Such is the arrangement of the Lord. Thus, we should be satisfied with those things he has kindly set aside for us, and we should always consider to whom those things we possess actually belong. So, everything is controlled, owned by the Supreme Lord. Nothing belongs to us. This is actual knowledge. See, many times we become very attached to our possessions. We think, I have earned it. I am the rightful proprietor. I am the rightful enjoyer of everything that I possess. But this is simply ignorance. The very first mantra of Ishopanishad is telling us that whatever you possess does not belong to you. The original proprietor is the Supreme Lord Krishna. This we have to understand. So, a person who is in true knowledge, he remains humble. He doesn't claim false proprietorship. In fact, it is said, Vidya dadati vinayam. What is the actual symptom of a person who is in real knowledge? He is very humble. That is the understanding of a person who is in real knowledge. Humble, humility means what? I do not possess, I am not the proprietor of everything that I possess. Right now, I am possessing these things. These have been given to me by the Lord. Actually, the Lord is the supreme controller, proprietor of everything. I must use all these resources that have been given to me by the Lord according to the plan of the Lord, in order to please the Lord. Just like if you get recruited into a company and the first day of your job, you report to your manager, and the manager will brief you about your roles and responsibilities, and he will tell you that this is your workspace, this is your workstation, and this is the laptop given to you by the company, and these are the facilities given to you by the company. Now, all these are actually not your possessions. The laptop, the other, your workstation, and so many other things that have been given to you by the company, they're actually belonging to the company, not you. But you have been given those resources so that you do something productive for the company. That is very important. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna declares everything, gives a big list, especially in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He gives a big list of all his energies, all his resources that belong to him. In fact, he says, I will only list the prominent ones, prominent manifestations of my energies in this world, because it is a huge list which I can never complete, because everything belongs to Krishna. So Krishna says, this earth is mine, the water that you're drinking, it is mine, the taste of water is me. And Krishna says, the sun and the moon, they are giving out, diffusing huge quantities of light and heat and all of that. That also comes from me. I am the source. And the knowledge that you have in the form of Vedas, that is coming from me. He gives a big list. And he gives a big list in the 10th chapter. Everything belongs to me, the water, the air, the resources, your body, your digestive ability, the food that you're eating. I am only digesting inside your belly in the form of Jatharagni, the digestive fire. It is me only. And finally, in the 11th chapter at the end, Krishna says, Mat karma kran, mat paramaha. Do my work, considering me to be the goal of all your activities. It is just like your manager telling, this is your laptop, the company is giving you, these are the resources, these are the things, files and everything. Now you should do the company's work during working hours. Suppose you sit in your workstation during the working hours and you start playing some games on your laptop, on the company's laptop. Will you be questioned or not? You will definitely be questioned, because it is working hours and these are company's resources, and you're being paid to do a certain work for the company. But if you are doing everything as per your own plan, you simply chilling out in the working hours in the company, you will be not spared. You will be questioned. Necessary actions will be taken against you. So the same thing, everything that we possess belongs to Krishna. Our body, our abilities, our intelligence, talents, everything has been given to us by Krishna. We are supposed to use them the way Krishna wants it. But if we think that we are independent proprietors, I can enjoy independently however I want, my body, my senses, and all these abilities, then we will be questioned. And that is exactly the laws of karma. The laws of karma, they question us. They put us into they give us reactions for misusing the property of the Lord and claiming them to be ours. That is law of karma. So, a person who understands that everything belongs to Krishna, therefore I should utilize it in Krishna's service, such a person, he is Krishna conscious, he is called a devotee. So, the Ishopanishad, the very first mantra, why it is so emphatically stressing that everything that is present in this world belongs to Krishna, belongs to the Supreme Lord, because we must know, because we are human beings. A cat or a dog cannot understand this. Only we can understand. Therefore, we must know this and act in our life. Everything that we do should be an offering to the Lord. Then our life becomes successful as a human being. So, here, another important point that is coming in the second part of this mantra, Tena Tyaktena Bunjita. Tena Tyaktena means Tena means by him, by Isha, by the Supreme Lord. Tyaktena, set apart as your quota. Bunjita, you should accept. You should accept only that which has been set aside by the Lord as your quota. This is very important. So, there are certain things which have been designated to be utilized by human beings. For example, in the matter of food, Krishna is saying this in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. So, four kinds of foodstuffs are authorized for human beings to be consumed. So we can take food falling in the category of leaves, that means vegetables, leafy vegetables, and all of that. Then patram, then pushpam, flowers, phalam, fruits, and toyam, which means water. And also, milk also has been designated as a food for human beings. Of course, many people might argue that milk that the cow produces, cow is not voluntarily giving you. It is actually meant for the calf. You are taking it away. You are depriving the calf of its milk. So the answer to this question is actually the cow produces milk in much larger quantities than the calf can consume. If the calf is allowed to drink the entire cow's milk, then the calf will suffer from digestive issues. I have personally seen this also in our ashram, in our goshala. So, the calf tends to drink more milk and it will have severe digestive issues. Of course, the first right of the cow's milk, on the cow's milk, is of that of the calf. But the cow produces excess milk, and that excess milk is actually meant for human consumption, as it is also authorized in the Vedas. In fact, it is said that cow's milk, if it is consumed, of course, we are talking about proper desi cow. Uh, if you consume that milk, it nourishes the finer tissues of the brain and it helps a person to advance spiritually and understand spiritual knowledge. So it is said here by Srila Prabhupada that the cow gives milk, but she does not drink that milk. She only eats grass and straw, and her milk is designated as food for the human beings. Such is the arrangement of the Lord. So if you see, what is the cow eating? Grass and straw. And practically, we cannot derive any nutrition by eating grass or straw. But look at the design of the Lord. The cow's body is designed in such a way that it can eat this grass and this leaves and it straw, and it can actually convert that into wholesome, nutritious milk. Can anybody make such a machine? Input is grass and straw, output is nutritious milk. Can any human being manufacture such a machine or such a thing, entity? Look at the wonders of Lord's creation, isn't it? So, we should accept whatever the Lord has set aside for our consumption. That is our quota set aside by the Lord. But we should not encroach upon things which are not set aside as our quota. So, civilized way of deriving benefit from a cow is by drinking its milk. Uncivilized people, they cut the throat of the cow and drink its blood and eat its flesh. That is uncivilized. And that attracts sinful reactions because that's not the way the Lord has designed things. So how do we know how what is our designated food and how has the what has the Lord actually set aside as our quota? How do we know? All that is given in the Vedic scriptures, and the Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all these Vedic scriptures. And if we should try to understand the Vedic knowledge with the help of a bona fide spiritual master, then everything will become known to us. It is said, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. A person who is guided by a bona fide Acharya will know everything about both material and spiritual aspects of one's existence. So we must take guidance from these scriptures, from the spiritual master, from the practicing sadhus, and get clarity about our purpose of our existence and how to lead our life. And that is the purpose of this Ishopanishad. So there are many more points that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport. We will continue to read and discuss in the next session. Before we close, if anyone has quick comments or questions based on what we discussed, you can unmute yourself and ask your question or make your point. Okay, looks like there are no questions or comments. So thank you very much for joining. We shall meet again in our next session. Shri Ishopanishad ki jai, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.